All right, let's dive right into today's explainer. We are unpacking a story you probably know by heart, a classic toddler's bedtime tale about a newly hatched, incredibly ravenous green bug. But today, we're going to look at it through a completely different lens, because hidden right in plain sight within this simple little fairy tale is actually a remarkably accurate map of the human experience.
I mean, seriously, what can a tiny green bug possibly teach us about wellness, patience, and personal growth? Well, think about your own life for a second. Think about that endless cycle of consuming we all get caught in, whether that's food, media, information, or just trying to power through the endless tasks on your to-do list. We often feel like we're constantly chewing through things, but never actually feeling full, right? Well, that is exactly the journey our little friend goes on. So let's set the stage and follow this caterpillar's week day by day to see exactly how his journey perfectly mirrors our own search for satisfaction.
Okay, so day 1, Monday. Our newly hatched little guy takes a look at the bright world around him, decides he's hungry, and crunches right through a single red apple. But almost immediately, he whispers, "Still hungry." And man, that perfectly captures that initial spark of motivation we all get, isn't it? It's that moment where we consume our first little bit of success, but we instantly crave more. Fast forward to Tuesday, and his appetite is definitely ramping up. He gobbles down 2 yellow bananas, grinning, totally thinking he's satisfied, but nope, the emptiness returns. He doubled his intake, he ate faster, and yet the goalpost just moved. It's that incredibly relatable treadmill of constantly chasing satisfaction. By Wednesday, things are going completely off the rails. He spots 3 juicy strawberries and just dives right in. We are seeing this relentless escalating rhythm to his binge now. 1 apple, 2 bananas, 3 strawberries. He's simply equating volume with fulfillment. The more he eats, the faster he eats, the quicker he thinks he'll finally reach that magical state of feeling complete. But he is entirely focused on consumption on a purely physical, superficial level. Now, right in the middle of this wild Wednesday strawberry binge, a gentle butterfly actually flutters down beside him with a piece of unsolicited but absolutely crucial advice. The butterfly says, "Slow down, little one. Sometimes it's not just food that fills us up." Let's just pause on that for a second. The butterfly is essentially introducing the idea of deeper fulfillment here, suggesting that the void he's trying to fill isn't in his stomach at all. But, like most of us, mid-hustle, the caterpillar just blinks and says, "But I'm hungry." The advice just doesn't land. Not yet, anyway. And that brings us to a totally frantic Thursday. Completely ignoring the butterfly's gentle wisdom, the caterpillar ramps his consumption up to a fever pitch. He stumbles upon a picnic spot and finds 4 sweet cupcakes. And he doesn't just eat one, he obliterates all 4 of them. He has moved completely away from the natural sustenance of the apples and bananas into pure, unadulterated junk food. It's the ultimate quick-fix dopamine hit. He is literally trying to force the feeling of fullness by overwhelming his system with the sweetest, richest things he can possibly find. But, as we all know, actions have consequences. The frantic pacing of his whole week suddenly comes to a screeching halt. The inevitable happens. He clutches his belly and says, "Oh, my tummy hurts. Maybe I ate too much." He has officially hit the wall. The physical consequence of his unchecked junk food binge is undeniable pain and regret. And we've all been there, right? Whether it's literal junk food or burning ourselves out by taking on way too much at work or doom scrolling social media for 4 hours straight, eventually the system overloads and it just hurts. So while he's just sitting there wallowing in pain, this wise old beetle crawls by, kind of assesses the situation, and chuckles. The beetle drops this absolute gem. It's not how much you eat, but what you learn that helps you grow. This is a massive pivot for the caterpillar. The beetle is drawing a hard line here between physical consumption, just taking things in, and actual intellectual and emotional growth. You have to actually process and learn from what you consume for it to have any real value. The story notes that the caterpillar didn't quite grasp this yet, but he nodded anyway. The seed of wisdom has officially been planted. Which brings us to Friday. Friday is the turning point. The caterpillar makes a deliberate and honestly pretty difficult choice. Instead of going back to the cupcakes, he nibbles on 5 green broccoli stalks. He mutters, "Oh, not my favorite, but maybe they'll help me feel better." He is actually applying the lessons he's heard. He's choosing nourishment over a quick sugar high. And guess what? He did feel better. It wasn't the easiest choice in the world, but it was exactly what his system needed to repair itself. Now, before we hit the weekend, let's take a step back and map out the emotional and physical arc of this entire week because it's incredibly structured. We start on Monday, driven by pure innocent hunger, and that escalates relentlessly until we hit Thursday's bellyache. That pain actually acts as a necessary catalyst, right? It forces a change in behavior on Friday, which then necessitates the deep rest of Saturday. And every single one of those steps, in that exact order, is required to reach the magic of Sunday's transformation. You can't skip the rest, and unfortunately, usually you can't skip the bellyache either, if you want to get to the growth. So when Saturday finally arrives, the caterpillar's energy totally shifts. He feels sleepy. He whispers to himself, maybe it's time to stop eating and think about what everyone said. And he tucks himself quietly under a leaf. He isn't consuming anything physically anymore. Instead, he's just resting, and he's dreaming. He dreams of colors, of kind words, of laughter, and of floating in the sky. He is finally digesting everything, not just the food, but the wisdom he got from the butterfly and the beetle. This period of stillness is absolutely essential. And then Sunday morning rolls around. When he wakes up, something truly amazing has happened. The rest, the good choices, the assimilation of all that knowledge, it all culminates. He isn't a caterpillar anymore. He has transformed. He shouts joyfully, "I'm a butterfly!" Showcasing these magnificent wings of bright blue, shiny gold, and gentle green. He flies high above the world he used to just crawl through, waving down at the butterfly, the beetle, and the birds, completely ready for entirely new adventures. But right before he flies off, he shares a realization that perfectly illustrates a profound mindset shift. He moves from the belief that growing is about filling your tummy to realizing that growing is about feeding your heart. He explicitly thanks his friends for their lessons, acknowledging that true growth actually requires slowing down, listening to others, and being kind. And only after realizing this does he give a little twirl and a giggle and soar into the sky. It's a total, complete shift from a mindset of frantic accumulation to one of mindful connection. So what's the real takeaway for us here? Let's distill these morals nice and clearly. First, take your time to grow. You really don't need to hurry, because little steps build strong foundations. Second, listen to kind friends. Others can often see what we completely miss when we're blinded by our own hunger. Third, avoid too much sugar. And hey, interpret that as setting healthy boundaries against whatever quick, unfulfilling distractions happen to tempt you. Fourth, rest is good. Sleep and stillness heal the body and clarify the mind. And finally, change by learning and being nice. True transformation always comes from an open mind and a kind heart.
And that brings us to our final thought for today's explainer. How are you feeding your own heart and taking time to rest in your busy life? Are you stuck on a Thursday binging on cupcakes and completely ignoring the butterflies in your life? Or are you ready to choose the broccoli, tuck yourself under a leaf, and do the hard work of real growth? It's a surprisingly deep question to get from a tiny green bug, but it's absolutely one worth answering. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I really hope you leave today ready to feed your heart just a little bit more.